In the heart of an endless desert, where the sun beats down like a celestial hammer, lies a single, sacred oasis. For generations, this vibrant jewel of life has been guarded by a lone sentinel, an old elephant named Kale. His skin was a roadmap of wrinkles, each line telling a story of seasons past, of droughts survived and storms weathered. The oasis was his charge, the last bastion of water in a kingdom of sand, and he protected it with a quiet, unwavering devotion. The birds sang in the palm trees, the gazelles drank from the cool waters, and life thrived under his watchful eye. For 1,000 years, peace reigned, but peace in the desert is a fragile thing, as delicate as a desert flower. One scorching afternoon, the very ground began to tremble. It wasn't the familiar rumble of a distant sandstorm, but something deeper, something ancient and malevolent. A great fissure tore through the earth, a jagged wound in the golden landscape. From this dark abyss, a nightmare emerged. Giant scorpions, their carapaces gleaming like polished obsidian, swarmed out, their pincers clacking in a terrifying rhythm. This was the Scorpion Legion, a myth whispered by the desert winds, now made flesh and chitin. Their eyes, a multitude of glowing red embers, fixed on the oasis. They moved as one, a tide of black armor and venomous stingers, their only purpose to consume, to devour, to turn the green paradise into a barren wasteland. The animals of the oasis scattered in terror, their cries echoing across the dunes. But Kale did not run, he stood his ground, a mountain of wrinkled gray against the encroaching darkness. He let out a trumpet, a defiant roar that shook the very air. It was a declaration, this far and no further. The first wave of scorpions surged forward, a frenzy of claws and tails. Kale met them head-on. He was old, but his strength was that of the earth itself. He swung his massive head. His tusks, though worn, became battering rams, sending scorpions flying through the air like shattered stones. His huge feet were like millstones, crushing the armored bodies with thunderous stomps. He was a whirlwind of fury, a force of nature unleashed, but the legion was endless. For every scorpion he crushed, 3 more took its place. They were relentless, their attacks coordinated. Some tried to flank him, their venomous tails striking at his legs, while others lunged for his eyes. Kale was not just strong, he was wise. He knew he couldn't fight them all with brute force alone. He retreated into the shallows of the oasis, using the water to his advantage. The scorpions hesitated at the edge, their movements becoming sluggish in the mud. Kale used this moment, scooping up gallons of water in his trunk and blasting them back, disorienting the swarm and giving himself precious seconds to breathe. The battle raged for hours, turning the pristine sands around the oasis into a grim tableau of shattered carapaces and churned earth. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting long, menacing shadows, Kale felt his age. His muscles burned, his breath came in ragged gasps. He was covered in 100 shallow cuts, the scorpion venom beginning to take its toll, a fire in his veins. He looked at the fragments of his own broken tusks scattered on the ground. An idea born of desperation and genius sparked in his mind. Using his trunk, he began to gather the sharpest, largest pieces. With surprising dexterity, he used the tough vines that grew by the water's edge to lash these ivory shards to his legs and shoulders. He fashioned a crude but effective armor for himself. The broken pieces of his past now became the weapons for his future. He was no longer just an elephant. He was a walking fortress, a behemoth ready for the final stand. The scorpions, sensing his exhaustion, prepared for their final push. But as they regrouped, the ground trembled once more violently this time. From the center of the fissure, a colossal figure rose, dwarfing all its brethren. This was the Scorpion King. It towered over Kale, its carapace the color of dried blood, its pincers large enough to snap a palm tree in half. Its stinger, dripping with a potent, black venom, arched over its back like a cruel scepter. The king let out a screech that silenced the desert, a challenge to the lone defender. The rest of the legion fell back, forming a circle, an arena for their monarch. The final duel was at hand. The fate of the oasis, of all life in the desert, would be decided now. Kale met the king's gaze, his own eyes burning with an unyielding fire. There was no fear, only determination. The king lunged, faster than anything that size should move. Its massive pincer snapped shut, missing Kale's head by inches, but shearing through a thick palm tree as if it were a twig. Kale sidestepped, his armored legs deflecting the strikes from the smaller scorpions that darted in. He couldn't match the king's speed, but he had weight and momentum on his side. He charged a great avalanche of righteous fury. He slammed into the king's side, the impact shaking the ground. The king staggered, but quickly recovered, whipping its venomous tail around. The stinger struck Kale's shoulder, piercing deep. A searing pain, white-hot and debilitating, shot through him. He roared, a sound of both agony and defiance. He knew he had only one chance. The venom was working fast, blurring his vision, weakening his mighty limbs. Gathering every last ounce of his life's strength, every memory of the life he was protecting, he lowered his head and charged. It was not a charge of anger, but of sacrifice. He ignored the snapping claws, the searing pain, and focused on one single point, the heart of the monster before him. The Scorpion King, arrogant in its power, reared up to deliver the final, killing blow. It was the opening Kale needed. With a final, earth-shattering trumpet, he drove his one remaining full tusk forward. It plunged deep into the king's chest, through the thick chitin, and pierced its dark heart. The king froze, its multitude of eyes wide with shock. A terrible, gurgling screech escaped its maw, and then the colossal beast crashed to the ground, its death throes shaking the very foundations of the desert. As the king fell, a collective hiss of despair rose from the legion. Their monarch was dead, their will broken. As if cued by some ancient magic, they turned and scurried back into the fissure from which they came, vanishing into the darkness of the earth. Silence descended upon the oasis. Kale stood, trembling, his body broken but his spirit triumphant. The sands around him were stained red, but the water of the oasis remained pure. As he stood there, a single drop of water fell on his dusty hide, then another and another. He looked up, and for the first time in a century, rain began to fall on the desert kingdom. It was a soft, cleansing rain, washing the blood from the sand and the venom from his wounds. It was the sky weeping tears of gratitude. Kale, the old guardian, had not just saved the oasis. He had brought life back to the entire desert. He had won. Thank you so much for watching this epic tale. If you enjoyed the story of Kale the Brave Elephant, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to our channel for more amazing stories. We'll see you in the next video.